This is the story of how Roger Taylor decided to address the rumors about a permanent high-tech return for the original members of Queen. Now that he is 76 years old, the legendary drummer is speaking openly about the future of the band in a way that fans never expected. Recent interviews from late 2025 and early 2026 confirm that the group is in active talks to produce an immersive show. Industry insiders have speculated about this project for years, especially as other major acts began using digital avatars and permanent residencies in big entertainment hubs. The surviving members of Queen stayed quiet for a long time because they wanted to be sure the technology met their very high standards. These latest statements suggest that the time for traditional global tours is ending in favor of something more permanent and advanced. Taylor explained that these plans are no longer just ideas, and the band is now figuring out how to bring their theatrical legacy into a new era without the exhaustion of traveling. The massive success of the ABBA Voyage show in London sparked much of this conversation, and Taylor has watched that production with a very critical eye. He admitted the show was impressive in its scale, but he was also candid about his belief that Queen can do much better. While those avatars were a technical achievement, he found the projections unconvincing for a rock performance that needs raw and explosive energy. Taylor believes the technology has moved forward since that show opened, and he wants any Queen production to use the most advanced tools available. His goal is for the experience to feel like a real concert where the audience forgets they are looking at digital recreations. This push for perfection is why the project took so long to move into the active planning stage as we are seeing now. This shift in strategy comes down to the reality of aging and the physical demands of a 3-hour rock show. Both Taylor and Brian May have performed at a high level for decades, but a permanent residency is now much more attractive for their health. Moving a massive production across continents is a logistical nightmare that requires months of travel and physical exertion that gets harder every year. By building a fixed home for the show, the band can keep their high standards while enjoying the luxury of staying in one place. This change shows that their priority is now preserving both the band legacy and their own well-being. It allows them to continue being Queen without the exhaustion of life on the road, ensuring the music lives on in a live setting forever. These updates arrive as the band reaches several major 50th anniversary milestones that celebrate their place in music history. Taylor waited until this moment to confirm the plans because he wanted the project to feel like a natural evolution of their work. With the anniversary of Bohemian Rhapsody and other hits approaching, the band feels a responsibility to protect their live experience for future generations. They wanted to wait until the technology reached a point where it could do justice to the stage presence of Freddie Mercury. At 76 years old, the drummer is focused on how the world will remember the original 4 members long after they stop playing. By confirming these plans now, he is showing that the next chapter of Queen will keep the original lineup at the center of the experience. This specific revelation signals a major shift for the group, as it moves the focus away from the Adam Lambert years to honor the 4 founding members instead. Even though the collaboration with Lambert reached incredible heights, Roger Taylor acknowledges that the deepest connection for fans comes from seeing the group perform in their peak years. The Queen Voyage concept looks beyond nostalgia to build a lasting tribute to the bond of Freddie Mercury shared with his bandmates. Because Taylor is now speaking so freely about these designs, it indicates he feels certain the production is finally heading exactly where it needs to go. Protecting the band legacy remains his priority, and he refuses to let a digital project tarnish that hard-earned reputation. These ongoing discussions might result in the most impactful moment for legacy rock since the group first stepped into the spotlight during the early 1970s. This ambitious move into the future guarantees the performance continues for another 50 years, and Taylor is personally overseeing every detail to ensure it receives the dignity it earns. At the heart of this massive undertaking is a technical mission to recreate the original lineup as they looked in the late 70s and early 80s. Simply throwing old concert clips onto a screen is not the plan here, as both Roger Taylor and Brian May insisted on a much more advanced approach. Engineers are constructing high-resolution digital models from scratch, which allows the avatars to possess a physical weight that matches the massive scale of a stadium concert. The crew is utilizing complex artificial intelligence and motion capture to pinpoint the exact ways Freddie Mercury navigated the stage during a show. They intend to mirror his unique audience interactions, along with those quiet signals he traded with the other band members while performing live. Such precision matters because the group always relied on a theatrical presence, and the raw power shared between the members carried as much weight as the songs they played. To reach this unheard-of visual quality, the musicians recruited Peter Jackson and his elite restoration specialists at Weta and Wingnut based in New Zealand. This collaboration feels like a logical next step after the work Jackson completed with the Beatles, especially since he demonstrated a rare talent for revitalizing historical music archives. The digital team uses the 35mm restoration of the Hungarian Rhapsody film as their gold standard, which originally filmed the group at their peak in Budapest. That specific footage offers a sharp clarity that most concert recordings from the 1980s lack, and it functions as the main guide for these digital recreations. Animators are examining their outfits and the way stage lights bounced off their guitars to produce digital figures identical to the men who performed in 1986. This work requires a careful frame-by-frame review of their actual movements so that every single motion appears natural rather than computer-generated. Avoiding vintage clips is a central part of the vision Taylor holds for this show, as he wants the event to feel alive rather than like a museum exhibit. Taylor thinks that by generating these avatars from scratch, the specialists can craft an environment where the digital band members perform songs in ways cameras never originally caught. This strategy offers a freedom that standard concert films simply cannot provide, and it lets the producers build a set list that covers several different decades of their history. The Weta team ensures that the lighting on the digital figures responds naturally to the concert space, which helps keep the illusion believable for the crowd. Hundreds of artists and technicians labor together on this enormous task to bring back the spark those 4 original members delivered to audiences every night for 20 years. The design team is looking closely at the specific habits that defined each member, like the subtle way Deacon used to sway with his bass guitar. These minute details are the reason an audience might believe they are watching the real band. Peter Jackson and his specialists are using advanced algorithms to scan hundreds of hours of old film to map the muscle movements Freddie Mercury used during his most powerful vocal moments. This deep analysis ensures that the digital version of Freddie moves with the same explosive energy that made him the most famous frontman in history. High-resolution figures that people can see from many different angles are a massive step up from the flat-screen projections used in the past. For Roger Taylor and Brian May, the emotional impact of watching a digital Freddie return to the stage is something they find very hard to describe. Taylor recently called the early footage stupendous. He mentioned that seeing his old friend perform again in such high quality felt both moving and a little bit strange, which makes the project feel very personal to the surviving members. Using the best technology of the 21st century is their way of honoring the theatrical world Freddie loved while introducing his skills to a whole new generation. This digital Freddie is meant to show his voice and his spirit, along with the genuine happiness he felt whenever he stood in front of a massive crowd. The band members have been very careful with this development because they worry that a hollow or fake version would fail to respect the standards Freddie set as an artist. They want a version of him that feels just as energetic as the man who took control of the stage during the Live Aid or Wembley concerts. Deacon is a major part of this project because having him in the digital lineup is essential for making the show feel like a real Queen experience. Even though Deacon has lived a quiet life away from the public for nearly 30 years, these digital tools will let fans see him standing next to his bandmates. This choice makes the show a celebration of the original group that built the Queen legacy from the ground up. Modern technology lets the band ignore the effects of time and aging. They can now show a version of themselves caught in their most legendary years, which is a very practical use of science in the music world. It shows how much the remaining members still value their early connection. By keeping the focus on the 4 original members, the show aims to create an emotional experience that reminds the audience why Queen became a worldwide success. Ultimately, this digital project is more than just a piece of entertainment, and it serves as a final statement on the strength of their creative bond. Brian May has spoken very honestly about what it feels like to be a rock star at 78 years old, especially after 50 years of touring have started to wear on his health. He admitted lately that the constant work of packing and moving a huge stage production around the world is not as fun as it used to be. A change of pace is welcome now. While he still loves playing the guitar as much as ever, the burden of living in hotels for months is a part of his life he is ready to trade for something more stable. This realization is one of the main reasons the band is looking into a permanent residency, because it lets them keep the music going without the exhaustion of travel. For Brian, having a fixed location is about more than just being comfortable, and it gives them a chance to play in a room perfectly tuned for the famous Queen sound. Many believe the Las Vegas Sphere is the intended home for this residency. The venue currently stands as the most advanced space for live entertainment in the world. Inside the dome, a 16K resolution screen wraps around the audience to create a massive visual canvas that does not exist anywhere else. Historically, the band has always looked for ways to expand the limits of a stage show, and this venue provides options that a standard arena could never support. With a screen of that magnitude, the production could effectively place the crowd inside a 1970s stadium or within the strange landscapes described in their lyrics. Modern digital avatars of the founding members would appear with a level of detail that surpasses any existing concert film. While the visuals are impressive, the audio capabilities likely matter more to Brian May, who is known for his strict requirements regarding live sound. The building relies on a specialized system called Sphere Immersive Sound, developed by the company Holoplot to send clear audio to every person in the building. Every note from the red special guitar and every strike of the drums could be tuned to feel intimate to every single listener. Replicating their thick vocal harmonies requires this level of clarity. This is the final requirement to recreate the dense wall of sound found on their classic albums without the audio issues that plague large stadiums. Avoiding the trouble of shipping a massive theatrical production across different continents is another major benefit of choosing a permanent home. Las Vegas provides a level of production quality that a traveling fleet of trucks could never consistently achieve. Night after night, every light and digital effect would stay in place because the stage dimensions never change. Roger Taylor often says that a Queen performance must be perfect or it should not happen, and this venue offers the control needed to meet that goal. Fans from across the globe would have a single destination to visit and see the group history. This gives the band a way to explore their theatrical roots further while honoring the original lineup. Adam Lambert has fronted the live version of the band for over a decade, and this planned Voyage project would exist as something separate from those successful tours. While those live performances celebrate the feeling of a rock concert, this new digital show focuses on the specific bond between the four founding members. Both projects offer distinct ways to hear the music, satisfying those who want a live drummer and those who want a high-quality historical recreation. Brian and Roger appear to be using this move to celebrate their past while accepting that the era of global touring might be ending. Future generations will be able to hear the music because the band is balancing their current live work with these new digital projects. 50 years after the journey began, the final result is a production that uses new tools without forgetting the men who started it all. Before we look at the quiet influence John Deacon still exerts over the band's future, do you find yourself drawn more to the live performances or these new historical recreations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you are enjoying this look into the band's legacy, hitting like and subscribing really helps us keep making content like this. Now, let's carry on. Even though John Deacon has avoided the public eye for nearly 30 years, his involvement in these new projects remains a steady part of the band's operation. Brian May frequently mentions that retirement hasn't stopped John from reviewing every major business decision, as the guitarist still considers his old friend's opinion a necessary step in their process. When the idea for the massive Voyage show first surfaced, the production team couldn't move forward until John gave his explicit blessing to the concept. John still holds a powerful vote in band affairs, and his support for a digital recreation of the original lineup shows the deep respect these four men still share. While he refuses to return to the stage, John remains inside the inner circle that guards the Queen name from being used in ways he might dislike. His consent helps transform this project from a simple commercial venture into a faithful representation of the group that changed rock music during the 1970s. Allowing his own likeness to appear alongside Freddie's again proves that John still deeply values the work they created together as a unified band. While the band members talk, a flurry of activity has been happening behind the scenes to protect Freddie's legacy. Management for Freddie's estate recently submitted several legal documents to trademark his name and likeness for use in three-dimensional and virtual reality formats. The estate's decision shows how seriously they view the digital transition, especially with the upcoming Avatar production planned for the Las Vegas Sphere. Securing these trademarks now creates a legal framework that allows for a high-definition digital Freddie while preventing unauthorized use or future challenges. These filings protect everything from his famous stage movements to his specific facial features, which means any digital version of him will be officially sanctioned and safe from imitation. Having these protections in place allows the creative teams at Weta and Sony to work with total confidence in the project's long-term security and its artistic integrity. Without these safeguards, the band would be vulnerable to problems that might derail the entire production before the public even gets a chance to see it. With these filings complete, the groundwork is finally set for the Avatar show to proceed without the constant threat of litigation or disputes over digital rights. Queen has always operated with this kind of foresight, and it shows their long-standing desire to keep everything under their direct control. By focusing on trademarks for virtual reality and immersive shows, the estate is preparing for future technologies that might not even be fully realized yet. As a result, the digital version of Freddie Mercury will be the definitive one, protected from being used in low-quality or disrespectful ways by third parties. Brian and Roger view this level of control as a necessity, as they have spent their entire lives making sure anything bearing the Queen name meets their standards. These legal filings act as a shield that protects the history of the band while they build a brand new way for fans to interact with them in the 21st century. Sony provides the massive financial weight needed for a project of this size, and their multi-million-dollar commitment shows how much the industry still trusts the band's appeal. This funding allows the production team to use the most advanced technology available, specifically for those 16K visuals that will eventually fill the Las Vegas sphere. The partnership with Sony brings more than just a checkbook to the table, because their technical expertise and global network will turn this show into a worldwide event. Brian May and Roger Taylor have found a partner that prevents any creative compromises, and that means the long development process is never slowed down by technical limits. The millions spent on this project represent a huge gamble for everyone involved, but it matches the way Queen always operated by taking massive risks for the sake of their art. The timing for this production is not an accident, because it falls right as the band reaches several major milestones in their 50-year history. As Queen approaches the 50th anniversary of Bohemian Rhapsody, the remaining members feel they must honor that legacy with something that feels just as revolutionary as the song itself. This anniversary marks the exact moment they broke through the walls of traditional rock music, and launching the Voyage show now connects their innovative past to a digital future. The drummer believes the 50th anniversary provides the right emotional backdrop for a story that looks at where they have been while moving toward what comes next. It turns their half-century of work into one single narrative, and that historical weight makes every decision regarding the Residency feel much more important. Roger Taylor has been very firm about the fact that this show will only happen if the quality meets his specific expectations. He has watched other digital recreations and hologram tours over the last 10 years, but he often found those results to be disappointing or hollow. Maintaining the premium reputation of the Queen name is his top priority because he believes that excellence and theatrical scale are what the fans deserve. A quick financial win is never worth the risk of damaging a legacy that took 5 decades of hard work to build. The development has taken a long time because the band rejected any proposal that failed to meet their standards for visual detail. Taylor wants a stupendous experience that leaves an audience breathless, and he refuses to settle for a projection that feels like a pale shadow of the real band. There is a specific philosophy driving this work that links back to the themes of mortality found in their classic anthem, Who Wants to Live Forever? By using digital technology in this way, Brian May and Roger Taylor are making sure the experience of a Queen concert lives on after they eventually leave the stage. This is their way of achieving a kind of artistic immortality that was never possible for a live act in the past. Studio recordings can last forever, but the energy of a live Queen show was always tied to the physical presence of the 4 men. The project changes that reality by preserving the concert experience in a high-resolution format for fans who were born long after Freddie passed away. Working with the Weta team is about making sure the show never has to face a final curtain call, and it keeps the spirit of their music alive for the next generation. Creating a digital version of Freddie Mercury stands as a major milestone for the band because it secures his place in the 21st century as a genuine pioneer. He was a man who always chased the spectacular, and he never hesitated to use the most advanced stage technology available during his lifetime. His bandmates believe he would have found the possibilities of the sphere fascinating, especially the idea of performing inside a 16K digital environment. By returning him to the stage this way, the band celebrates his status as a visionary who was always ahead of his time. This digital return keeps his theatrical spirit alive, in a format that finally matches the massive scale of his own imagination. It places him at the center of a new frontier and proves his influence is just as powerful now as it was back in 1985. This project serves as the ultimate tribute because it allows his talent to reach new audiences in a way that feels fresh. As the production moves toward its debut, the members of Queen are focusing on how this new format will impact their history over the long term. They realize they are setting a precedent for how every legacy band manages their past, and they want to be the ones who get it right first. This work is about more than just recreating the past, as it defines a new way for people to engage with music that has become part of our global culture. The heavy investment from Sony and the technical skill of the team led by Peter Jackson are being used to build a permanent home for the Queen legacy. When the doors at the Sphere finally open, the audience will see the original 4 members looking as sharp as the day they first conquered the world. It will be a moment of deep reconnection for those who saw them in the 70s, and a revelation for younger fans who only know them through old films. Roger Taylor and Brian May have guarded this flame for over 50 years, and they are taking every step to make sure it never fades away. Their dedication to this project is a final gift to the millions of fans who supported them through every triumph and tragedy over the last half-century. By looking toward the future, they are protecting their history and making sure the story of Queen remains a living part of the world for another 50 years. The digital voyage represents the final chapter in a story of friendship and creativity that has crossed every boundary of time. It is a bold step into the unknown that proves the show really does go on forever when it comes to Queen. Before we continue into what this means for future rock residencies, share your thoughts on seeing a digital version of the original lineup in the comments below. If you are enjoying this story so far, hitting like and subscribing really helps us keep making content like this. Now let us carry on with the final details of this historic transition. This transition is a massive moment because it marks the point where a legendary rock band becomes a permanent digital installation. This setup allows for a level of perfection that even the most disciplined live band could never achieve on a long tour. Every harmony will be right and every guitar solo will have the exact same fire that Brian May captured in the studio decades ago. For fans traveling from across the globe, the show will be a guaranteed experience of the highest possible quality. Moving to a fixed residency reflects how the music industry is changing, where the destination becomes just as important as the performance itself. Queen is leading the way again and showing the world that great music has the power to adapt and survive in any era. The digital Freddie Mercury will stand as a symbol of this endurance and a reminder of four men who dared to dream of something bigger than themselves. Their journey from a small London rehearsal room to 21st century technology is a story that will be told for many generations. At 76, Roger Taylor has seen everything, but his focus is now on the future and the digital voyage that is about to begin.